Muskin, this is Rashid. From today onward, he will live in our house and help you with all the chores. When I introduced 15-year-old Rashid to my wife, she stared at him in astonishment. She didn't say anything in front of him, but grabbed my hand and led me into the room. I asked for a servant, not a child, she cried. What am I supposed to do with him? Bring me a grown man who, besides running all the household errands, can also manage a trip or two to the market in my absence. I'm always in trouble when you're away. How many times have I begged you for a proper help? After all that effort, now you bring home this scrawny boy of only 15. What good is he for housework? My wife Samira's mood soured completely. I replied, just give him a chance for a few days. He's very energetic. He used to work at my friend's shop. When they no longer needed him there, he became jobless, so I brought him here to help you. You've been after me for ages to arrange a servant, and now that I've done so, you complain. You know I have to catch the evening train, and in my haste, I arranged Rashid. Put up with him for 3 or 4 months. When I return, I'll find you another helper. Samira glared at me but said, fine, just be sure to bring back a proper, capable young man who can handle the work correctly. I readily agreed, and Samira began packing my things. At that moment, there was a knock on the door. Rashid was standing there. Samira eyed him questioningly. He said, ma'am, please tell me what to do. I'm just standing here idle. I smiled at Samira, and she looked him over from head to toe before asking, do you even know how to do housework? Rashid immediately replied, yes, madam. I can clean, wash dishes, and I even know how to cook. I've been living alone in the city for a long time, he added. My family is in the village, so I learned all these chores. Hearing that, Samira felt a little reassured. She said, all right, go start with the cleaning. After the master leaves, I'll see all your masterpieces. Let me taste your cooking one day to know how good you are. Samira was by no means convinced by Rashid, but she had only kept him because I insisted. After I left, she went with me to the railway station. Tears welled in her eyes. Being without me was very hard for her. I comforted her. It's only for a few months. When I return, don't ever send Rashid away, or you'll be in trouble with the household chores. I stressed this firmly because she had a habit of dismissing any servant she didn't find satisfactory. She simply nodded silently, and I bade her farewell and set off on my journey. I had to go to another city for 3 months. My business was on the verge of a new breakthrough. I was negotiating a big deal with a client, and this trip was essential. I wanted to become so successful in life that my wife would never have to turn to her father for anything. The thought of her relying on her father for even our smallest needs was unbearable to me. Had she appealed to her father, he would have dispatched an entire battalion of servants to our house. Yet I wanted to handle this myself, so I entrusted Rashid to Samira's care. I knew my wife was tormented by loneliness. She came from a very wealthy family, and although I was comfortable, I could not match her family's riches. 2 months earlier, our long-serving maid had resigned, leaving Samira to shoulder every household task. She became irritable and resentful. Whenever I tried to hire a replacement, she found fault. She demanded a strong young man who could dash through chores and run market errands. Female servants dawdle, she would say. They meddle with our possessions. No matter whom I engaged, a middle-aged woman included, Samira suspected her of pilfering trinkets and refused to keep her. My only recourse was to select Rashid, though I had plenty of young men to choose from. The thought of leaving my beautiful young wife alone with a handsome male servant filled me with envy and insecurity. I harbored a constant fear that Samira, so young and lovely, deserved someone far more worthy than me. My mind replayed the idea that she deserved a stronger, more handsome husband, and that she might leave me for someone else if he proved more attentive. This insecurity compelled me to choose a 15-year-old boy instead. Rashid's youth and innocence could never supplant me in my wife's affections. Moreover, he was remarkably skilled at every household task. Samira could easily manage with his help. Relieved by this compromise, I departed on my business trip convinced that at least our domestic front would not collapse in my absence. Once I arrived in the other city, I threw myself into work. My enterprise flourished rapidly, and I firmly believe that this success was Samira's blessing ever since she entered my life. Friends who knew my humble beginnings marveled that I had won the hand of such a beautiful and affluent woman. To protect her from unwelcome attention, I had distanced us both from old acquaintances, meeting them only discreetly outside the house. Now, with our new outlet poised for expansion, I could not afford distractions. Each evening I phoned Samira. She reported that Rashid exceeded her expectations. He tackled cleaning, cooking, and errands with surprising energy. Hearing her praise brought me immense relief. She no longer yearned for another servant. Meanwhile, I finalized my deal and inaugurated the new branch, dedicating every waking hour to its success. Yet despite my confidence in Rashid's abilities, I could not shake the worry that this delicate arrangement might unravel in my absence. I feared that if my return were delayed, Samira's initial relief could give way to frustration. I recalled how furious she had been when previous helpers proved unreliable, forcing her to contend with every chore alone. My drive to build a thriving business was motivated by more than ambition. It was a solemn promise to my wife that she would never again have to depend on her father or sacrifice her comfort for household needs. Each late-night breakthrough in my work was tinged with thoughts of home. I pictured Rashid dutifully assisting Samira, lightening her burden, and providing her with company until I returned. The irony was not lost on me. A 15-year-old, chosen out of necessity, had become the guardian of our domestic peace. I clung to the vision of Samira, smiling, unencumbered by chores, welcoming me back through the front door. That promise sustained me, driving me onward until the day I could reunite with her, confident that I had preserved her well-being and honored my commitment. The first month passed in a whirlwind of activity, but by the second month the workload had eased and things began to settle down. I started calling Samira every night, but for some reason, she simply wouldn't talk properly. It was as if she was exhausted. Sometimes she would even fall asleep mid-conversation. I would ask in surprise, "Samira, why are you so sleepy? You used to stay up all night, but now as soon as we start talking you nod off, and even answering me takes a huge effort." She told me, "My routine has changed. I spend the entire day on household chores, and at night, I fall asleep early." Her answer astonished me. She'd never been accustomed to housework. When we had a maid, she did nothing, and when there was none, she would only cry and tackle one or two tasks, leaving the rest for me after I got home from the office. That was why I'd hurriedly found Rashid, so the burden wouldn't fall on her alone. What new chores could she have taken on to feel this exhausted? I said, "That's exactly why I hired Rashid, to do the housework, and you yourself